In this video, I'm going to show you how to create the letter portrait template in ArcGIS. The template is for your title blocks that you'll be using throughout the semester. So it's going to end up looking like this on when we're finished. So let's get started. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to open ArcGIS. I've actually got 10.31, so it might be a little bit different than what you have either at home or you'll be working on in school. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to File, and I'm going to go New. When I do that, I'm going to use this blank map, and I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to save this document to my desktop. You can save it to your flash drive or to the desktop and email it to yourself later. So I'm going to call it letter underscore portrait underscore template. Okay, give it a description that it's the letter size page, it's in a portrait mode, and it's going to be your template. You'll be saving it throughout this exercise, but I'll go ahead and save it to my desktop. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing I want to do is with every map you're going to have to set a map projection. So we're going to set the map projection. In this you have, and it's a little bit hard to see, down here there's two boxes or two little icons. One of them says layout and one says data view. Layout view and data view. Now, excuse me. When you're in data view, you're actually working in the space that you're going to be drawing the map, and it's going to be working with the table of contents over here. So I got to set the map projection in the underneath the table of contents on my layers. So click on layers, right click, and go to properties. What pops up is this block, this dialog block, and I want to go to coordinate systems. We're going to work in the state planes projected coordinate system. So where it says projected coordinate systems, I'm going to hit the plus arrow or plus button, and I'm going to go to state plane. Notice there's a state systems, but we're going to use state plane. Click the plus. Now we're going to use the North American Datum 1983 HARN, H-A-R-N, in US feet. So click that, and we're going to come down and we're going to find Florida's state plane. Now Florida has three projections: east, west, and north. Most of the projects we're going to be working on are going to be near Valencia College, and that's actually in the east state plane. So I click that, and notice the information here. We'll talk about this later on in the semester about projections. I'm going to go simply click apply and OK. Excuse me. Now what you'll notice up here where it has the map scale, you're going to actually have to change that to 1200, and I'm going to click enter. The next thing is, the reason I'm doing that, I need my map scale in my layout view and my data view to be the same. So I'm going to leave this at 1200, and I'm going to switch to the layout view. Now in the layout view, it's like I liken it to paper space and model space. So in ArcGIS, let me just move this down a little bit and I'll explain this in a minute. In ArcGIS, we have paper space, model space, and what I just moved out would be likened to a viewport. So all the data for the layers, and it's named layers because of the underneath the table of contents, is my data view, specifically the viewport for the guys that have had advanced CAD. Now, when I'm working in layout view, I'm going to need toolbars that are specifically for the layout view. All these toolbars here at the top are actually for the data view. This button here where it says data view. Alright, so I'm going to click back to the layout view, and I'm going to add the toolbars I need. One of the toolbars I do need is this layout, so I'm going to sync it down to here. So all my data view layout toolbars are up here, and all my layout view toolbars are going to be down here. Now I'll need also, so I'm going to highlight up here in this gray area, right click, and I'm going to pick draw. And this looks a lot like your Word documents, and I'm going to sync that down here. It doesn't matter where you sync it, so yours might be looking a little bit different than mine. And then I'm going to come up here, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to select graphics also. And I'm going to sync it down here. Okay, so it doesn't really matter where you place it. You can leave it up here in a floating space if you want. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I need to tell you about a couple buttons. When I work in layout view, I need to use the zoom here and not the one at the top. So I can zoom in on an object and I can do a whole page zoom. Now see these rulers here at the top? These rulers help set guidelines. So guidelines, I'm going to right click. Oh, now here's the other thing. For the guys that are used to AutoCAD, escape doesn't always work here. So you're going to have to use these black arrows to exit a command. Okay, remember the black arrows, either top or bottom, will exit a command. So I'm going to zoom back out to the whole scale. But what I was talking about before is your guidelines. So I'm going to right click out here and I'm going to show you, you've got rulers, you can turn them on and off, you can snap to the rulers, you can snap to the guides. Right now the guides are set. So I'm going to go to your map options. I'm sorry, I'm going to step back. I'm going to follow the instructions that I have in a PDF. So the first thing that I have following the instructions in the PDF is to go to the page setup. Because this is a portrait, it's letter style, I'm going to use the printer settings. Now I'm going to change this to cute PDF. When we do stuff in class, you'll probably send it to the classroom's printer. The other thing that I'm going to check to make sure is I do not want the scale map projections proportionally. I don't want that on, so I'm going to leave that off. It's an 8.5 by 11 in inches portrait style, so your image should look similar to this. I'm going to click OK. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to set the tick marks that I have up here on my scale. So I'm going to my ruler, sorry. I'm going to go to Arc Map Options, right click, Arc Map Options, and I'm going to go to Layout View. I want the rulers to be at 0.1 inches, and I want to show the grid also at 0.1. So I'm just highlighting, clicking in the box and typing in 0.1. And I want my snap tolerance also to be to 0.1. And the only thing that's checked right now is my guides. Apply and OK. So now you can see my grid box. I'm going to zoom up here at the top. And you can see that now I've got 10 ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're basically split off into tenths. So I'm going to create my guidelines and I'm going to set them at the top and on the left hand side. At the top, I'm going to pick 0.6 and see how you can see this light cyan line? That's a guideline. So I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to put one also at 8.2. There's 8, 8.1, 8.2. Now the next thing I'm going to do is on the left hand side, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to put one at 10.7, 5, 6, 7, and all the way down. So I'm going to pull my scroll bar down to here, and I need it, I need to go back up, to 0.2. So there's 0.1 and there's 0.2. I'm going to zoom all the way to the whole page. And the reason that I'm doing this, I've got more space on this side than this side, is because when I paper hole punch this side, it won't punch into the map that I'm creating. So the next thing that I need to do is I need in my layout tools, I want to create a rectangle. So I'm going to click my rectangle, and since I'm snapped to guides, it automatically snaps to those corner guides. Right. What I have is now a rectangular box that has a fill color of yellow. I don't want it to be yellow. I want it to have no color at all. So if the box isn't selected, let's say it looks like this, or the rectangle isn't selected, I need to just pick on the rectangle and right click and go down to Properties. I'm going to change this fill color to, I'm going to change the fill color to no color. I'm going to change the outline to black, and I'm going to change the size to 1.5. Apply and OK. Okay, it's really light underneath there since the cyan lines are covering it. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to set guidelines again. So I'm going to use this zoom down here, and I'm going to zoom into the top. I need to set guidelines at 0.7, so There's 5, 6.7, 3.2, 3.2, and 7, and 7. Okay, I'm just hovering over the top and clicking next to those numbers that I'm telling you. I also need to click down here at the bottom. Let me scroll up a little bit. I need 1 inch, I need 2 inches, and 2.1 inches. Now I'm going to create a rectangle for the bottom. So I'm going to create the bottom of my template, and I'll show you what that looks like. So in the instructions, if you're following them along, they look like this. Let me scroll down, grab this, see if it goes, what? Oops. It's going to end up looking like this. This is what I want it to look like. Actually, let me move up to give you a better picture. Oops. I've got a better one so you can see it. There. This is what it's going to look like finished and complete. This one down here. So I'm going to start creating my rectangles. So I'm going to click on rectangle, and I'm going to snap from this corner to that corner. Click rectangle again. This corner to this corner. Rectangle again. This corner to this corner. Now, you can actually, I need to make these colors no color at all. So no fill. So I'm going to pick it, each one holding the shift key, and pick all 3 of them, and then right click and properties. So it's going to say no color. I'm going to change the outline color to black, and I'm going to change the width to 1.5. Apply and OK. The next rectangular box I'm going to make, so I'm going to click rectangle, and it's going to be from this upper corner here to this corner here. Make sure, again, you don't turn your snap to guides off. Make sure those are on so you get a proper location. Now I'm going to right click, click properties. I'm going to change this to 10% gray, or gray 10%. The outline I'm going to change to black, and I'm going to have a line width of 1.5. Apply and OK. Now I need to create one more rectangle. Click the rectangle, snap to this grid here and here. I'm going to change this color, and all I'm doing, if you ever need to click the box, you're just going to click the yellow area with your left mouse click, and then you're going to right mouse click and go to properties. I'm going to change that to Arctic white. I'm going to change the outline to 1.5, and I'm going to apply an OK. Now, the next thing I need to do is to bring in my logo, my Valencia logo. So I'm going to come up here to Insert, click on Insert, and go to Picture. I've already saved my picture to my desktop, so I'm just going to go get it. So there's my Valencia 2 logo. It's actually located on your blackboard if you need to go get it. Now, to make it smaller, you're just going to grip edit. It's like the little grip edits in AutoCAD. I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to push it smaller. Now, notice how it's snapping. I want to get it kind of centered, and notice how it's snapping. I'm going to right-click, go to Guides, and turn my snap off for right now, just so I can get it in there. The next thing that I want to insert, you always have in your map, is a north arrow. So I'm going to come up here to Insert. I'm going to go to North Arrow. Click the North Arrow, and in the instructions, PDF instructions, I pick this North Arrow. Today I'm feeling a little different, so I'm going to pick this North Arrow. I'm going to go OK. And I'm just going to grab it, and I'm going to drag it over. I can push or pull it, make it smaller or bigger, however, that needs to fit inside my map. The next thing I need to work on is my scale bar. I am going to, the first thing that I want to talk about before I insert my scale bar, going to inserting the scale bar, I want to change the map scale up here. Let me see if I can hover and get it to see the map scale. I'm going to change that to 1200 again. Okay, now I'm ready to insert my scale bar. The reason I did that is I needed to have equal spacing, and I'm using a 1200 scale. So for example, if I divide 1200 by 12, then that gives me 100 because it's inches to feet. So I'm using 1200 here. So I'm going to insert my scale bar, and I'm going to pull this over. I'm going to use the alternating scale bar too. I'm going to adjust the properties. The first thing that I need to do is the scale in units. I need to adjust when resizing. I'm going to adjust the width. And the division units are going to be in feet. So now I want 100 feet. So if it's something different here, make sure that this is 100. The number of divisions I want as 1, and the subdivisions as 5. So every subdivision is going to be 20 feet. I'm going to change this gap, and I'm going to change to 2 points. All I'm doing is making this part of it look aesthetically pleasing. Going to go to numbers and marks. I'm going to change this one to divisions, and I'm going to pull this position down to above the bar. And I'm going to change this gap to 1.5. I'm going to apply and OK. And then I'm going to go OK. And I'm just going to move this over. Now, like I said, I'm going to squish this down to make it a little bit smaller. Move this. I need to set that. I should have had this feet to the bottom, so I'm going to click on it and right click and go to properties. I want this actually below center. That's what I should have picked first. That gives me a little bit more room to move this stuff around. Now, the next thing I want is if your scale was way up here and you want it centered to this box right here, see the grips that are edited? I am going to select Shift and hold the Shift key, select all 3 objects, and then the box last. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to align it to the vertical center. So now these objects are aligned in the center of this box. All right. I've also got, if you need additional help with the alignment, I've got some in the PDF instructions. I've got some video links if you want to watch those. I'm not going to go through them now. The next thing I want to do is I want to input some information, some dynamic text that tells me the document path, the author, and when it was saved last. Because that's really important when we're working on drawings, is to know where they're saved in our server, on our flash drives, wherever. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go Insert, Dynamic Text, and Document Path. When I double click the document path, you can see it says document path, colon, and it has all this dynamic type, blah, 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 blah. All right, we're going to leave that as is and then just click OK. The text size is 10. I'm actually going to make that smaller. You can make it smaller by automatically setting this and adjusting this text to 5. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm working on a very small screen and it's already hard to see. So I'm going to come in, and the next thing I want to do is I want to insert the dynamic text as the author. Right now the author isn't set, it's just set as blank because I haven't told it in the project settings of who the author is. But I'm going to come in and I'm going to highlight after the less than sign all the way to the greater than sign. I'm going to hit Control and C, basic Word doc commands. Control C makes a copy, and then I'm going to come over here, hit the space bar once, and Control B and paste it. Apply and OK. You don't see anything different as of yet, so we're going to do one more thing before we make sure that we can visually see it. We're going to insert dynamic text, and we're going to do date saved. That means when it was most current. See, it says never, never. That's because it's not set yet and I haven't saved the document yet. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to highlight past the colons all the way down beginning from the less than sign all the way to the greater than sign. Control C to copy, click OK. And I'm going to double click where it says document path. I'm going to give myself a space and then Control V for paste. Apply and OK. Alright, now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go and say, well, actually I'm going to zoom. I'm going to move this down here. Whoops. If you ever do something wrong, just hit the arrow undo move element up here. So I'm going to grab the text and I'm going to move it down here, because it's going to end up down here anyway. And I'm going to zoom into it just to show you. Okay. Now, remember, escape doesn't work, so you can tap escape all you want, but to release this document, the text box being active, I need to hit the arrow key, the black arrow key. That gets me out of the selection. Now, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to go ahead and reselect it. I'm just showing you. I reselect it. I'm going to change the text height to 5. And I'm going to move it. Here you can also use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move it to the left, to the right, down, up, however. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to save this drawing, but I want to set up the map document properties. So I'm going to come over to File and go down to Map Document Properties. On that, you can give the file a name, and you can say letter, portrait, template. The author is S. Bowling, my name. You'll put yours in, and then go ahead and make a thumbnail. You can always, no, I'm not going to do the thumbnail right now. We can always go back and set the thumbnail properties. A thumbnail is a picture of the end result, so when we're looking through our files, we'll know what it kind of looks like at the end. And I'm going to apply and OK. Now you can see S. Bowling, and it still says never, never. It doesn't change until I go File, Save. And I'm just going to come back and, whoops, go to my desktop, because that's where I started this, and save it as the letter portrait template and go Save. Yes. And now it has all this text. I'm actually, in the instructions in the PDF, it shows it above the doc inside that area. I'm actually going to move it down and put it here. Okay? Your document path is going to be different than my document path because it's actually saving it. Now, there's one other thing that I forgot to mention earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and mention it here. It's also not shown in the written instructions, but I need you to click on the picture and right-click of our logo. When you do that, I need you to save the image as part of the document. I completely forgot to tell you that earlier. If you don't, and apply, and OK, if you don't do that, then the logo will not be associated to this document when you open it up the next time. Okay? That means you'll just have a little box that says logo or print or picture in it. It won't have anything. You'll be missing the data. So you actually have to select the box, right-click, properties, and make sure you save image as part of the document. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead, and the next thing that I need to do when I fill this out is I need to make this text. So this text, and I'm just going to push this over here, this text goes inside this box here. So I'm going to zoom out, and I'm just going to zoom back into this. Oh, you can go ahead and select these and delete them by just hitting the delete key on your keyboard or right-clicking and deleting. Now, I'm going to use just the text down here. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to say Valencia, I'm going to do it in caps, Valencia College. Alright? Now, notice that this text here is, I'm going to zoom in on this and show it to you. Zoom in. This text is a little bit smaller and this is bolded, but this is all one piece of text. So I need to modify that. So I'm going to click it, and right now that text size is 10. So I'm going to write a specific script that allows me to modify that size of text. So this allows you to have multiple size text in one dialog box. So it's going to be less than sign, F, capital FNT, which stands for font, SIZE, and I'm going to make equal sign, there's no spaces, size and equal signs together. You have a quote, 7, close quote, greater than sign, go to the end and hit enter. And now I'm going to write all in caps, Introduction to GIS, less than sign, FNT, oops, I'm sorry, backslash FNT, greater than sign, enter, enter, and now I want the text map, name of map bold, so less than sign, BLD to allow you to go bold, greater than sign, name of map, less than sign, backslash BLD, greater than sign. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like, and I also want it to the center. I'm going to apply and OK, and I'm just going to grab this down. Oops, I misspelled introduction. INTRODUCE. There we go. Apply and OK. Alright, now I'm going to zoom out a little bit. That's in. Out a little bit using these buttons here. And I want to get this text centered. So I'm going to select the text. Oops. Select the text, and I'm going to hit Shift and select the box that's surrounding it. And I'm going to use my Layout tab, and I'm going to select it to align vertically. And I'm going to select it to align to it horizontally in the center. Okay? The next piece of text I'm going to put in is the figure. So I'm going to click on text, and I'm just going to pick it, and I'm going to type capital letters figure. And again, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to hit Shift, and the box that I created that for, I'm going to make it horizontal, align it to the center, and align it vertically to the center. Okay? Now, following the instructions, going along, I'm going to now put a piece of text called legend. So I'm going to push back over here, and I want legend. So I'm going to click text, and I'm going to type in legend. Now, I want that text going vertically. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the text height. And you can do it two ways. I'm going to show you the easiest way. And I'm going to change that to, let's say, 8. Nope, I'm going to change to 6. Okay, I'm going to double click to activate it, and you can see the Arial font is 6. If you didn't do it that way, you'd have to click change symbol, let it think for a minute. That's why I'm using the other areas way. And then change the size here and the style here. Those are our options. Now, I need it to be vertical, so I'm going to change the angle to 90. Apply and OK. Now I'm just going to move this over and set it to the center. The last thing that I need to do is I need the text to say source. So I'm going to create one more piece of text, and I'm going to type in, oops, delete, source. Okay, now I need to make that text smaller. I'm going to change that to 5. And I'm just going to bring it up here. You always have to have a piece of source in your text. The reason is without the source data, I need colons in. Without the information from where you got the data, people would question whether your data is reliable that's in your map. Now I'm going to zoom to the whole window. So zoom whole page. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this layers document back. I'm going to grab that grip. Oh, and notice that it didn't want to snap to the end because I turned off my guide snaps. So I'm going to right click out here and go to guides and snap to guides so you can see that they're turned on. See the little check mark now? Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to grip the layers like it pretends it's like a viewport, and I'm just going to grip them and drag them to the end. Alright, now I'm going to go back to my map document properties, and now I'm going to make a thumbnail of it because I'm finished making my portrait template. So make a thumbnail, apply, and OK. And I'm going to go ahead and file and I'm going to save this document. Now, if I went and did File, New, this is the reason why you made the thumbprint. You can go to, whoops, My Templates, and mine's saved, or I'm sorry, Browse. I can go to my desktop, and you can see that that's what the template looks like. That's why you want your thumbnails, just so you can see what it represents. Sometimes it's just easier when you've got a ton of different templates to pick from. All right, so that is it for this project. If you have any questions, just send me an email. So I'm going to save file. Make sure you send it to yourself or you keep it on your flash drive.